Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths, building a complete ship, start till finish. And so last time we managed to stick the missiles and torpedoes on this thing, and their missiles and torpedoes are very straightforward. Like, I would dare say easy. Once you get the hang of them, you just slap them on and they just work. And now we're going in increasing order of difficulty. At least, according to myself. Your mileage may vary. We're going to make the CRAM cannon. So, this one's going to be probably quite a bit longer than the first. It's probably going to take a little bit longer than the missiles and torpedoes. So yeah, we are going to place the CRAM cannon on the rear so that this thing can actually get into its broadside range, like come about, and then it can swing its booty towards the enemy where all the short-range weapons are. And so that means the long-range weapons on the front, which is going to be an APS and a laser, can, keep firing forward. And it looks like I'm going to have to, later on, stick some up props on this thing because the missiles have apparently made this too heavy. I am not a fan of that, but you know what? That's how it is. I could swap these out. I'm just going to quickly swap these out for helium pumps. First things first. Let's see, is that all... There we go. Just going to swap them out in the bow and stern for helium pumps, just so this thing can frickin' float, because otherwise it's not going to float, mate, and that's going to be upsetting. It's going to be upsetty in my spaghetti. So, here's our CRAM compartment. So, yeah, are you floating better? Yes, you are. That will do for now. So, here we have a rubber beam, so we got a 13 by 13 compartment here, and just to save time, I have a bunch of prefab turrets that I like to just use willy-nilly because it makes me happy. Alright, so over in our prefab turret, and I've got to remember, I don't often build things from the back, so this is, I think this thing I am building from back, so huge! It is quite handy to just have a whole bunch of pre-bagged turrets. I like turrets with slopes on them that are curved. This is mostly to make my brain happy. You do not need to do this. In fact, arguably, these turrets are not hyper-efficient. These are just trial and error. And I do this, and it already has a little rubber-wrapped local weapon controller right here. I pretty much always stick the local weapon controller on the turret itself. I hate sticking it off the turret. Don't ask me why, it's just habit by now. Anyway, that is going to be our template not only for this CRAM cannon, but also for the particle cannon and the APS. Tempting to do it for the laser cannon as well, but you don't need to do that, so we're not going to do that as well. Laser cannon? Laser weapon. Alright, so now we have a trick. We have a dilemma to resolve, and that is this going to be a necked turret or a neckless turret? I'm really tempted to make it a neckless turret, but no. We're going to have a neck. We're going to have a nice neck on this, just so that, just so... I don't know, it's just, basically the problem with having a turret that has no neck and just goes all the way up. Hey girl, does that neck go all the way up? That's a horrible joke. The problem with that is that what you end up with is a very large turret cap, and we don't actually want that right now, because I want this space here to be filled with secondary weapons. So yeah, we're just gonna go with a nice neck, and we're just gonna block it in, so we know what we're doing. I'm just gonna do this so we know what we're doing, and depending on what kind of Tetris we have, we are going to have multiple firing pieces. So I never remember off the top of my head what fits in here. We might have to use kind of garbagey Tetris in order to make use of the whole space. So hopefully we don't have to do that. Let's just have a look. And also I have a handy dandy prefab just to save time. This is the standard diamond Tetris. It all starts with this. It starts with a payload packer surrounding a connector, and from here you can do all kinds of wacky stuff. You can do 3D Tetris starting with this as a base. You just have a layer that looks something like this, and then you have additional things on top that arranged something like that, and then you keep sandwiching up. We're not going to do 3D Tetris today. for two reasons. Firstly, it's more complicated, and secondly, 2D Tetris, just standard diamond, is generally more firepower efficient. You get more firepower per volume than you do with 3D Tetris, unless you are using like A+, like 3D Tetris, which is just so ridiculously optimized that I can't even imagine it. So, but we're not going to do that right now. So let's do this, and this is just blocking in, seeing what fits, and immediately you'll see that we have a problem here. We have a gap here, so that's no bueno. So we're going to change that, like so. And there we have a problem again. We have a problem like so. And we have a gap again. This is the problem with having super optimized turrets. I don't want to leave gaps in here. There are things we can fill them in. It's arguably more efficient to use standard diamond Tetris, and then you just take your lumps, you use your gaps. But instead, I am going to do cramped Tetris, which is something I made up. And by the way, if you want a super efficient cram cannon, do not do this. Like, really, you're better off using this kind of diamond pattern like this, and then you use this, pellets go in there, and you have this kind of diagonal lines, like so. And what I'm about to do is absolutely not recommended. I do it just so I can fill in this whole space, because it drives me nuts when I can't do that, even if it's less efficient. So, cramped Tetris, which basically means this is going to be a quad turret, is basically, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's cramped, so I have a bunch of prefabs of this already. It looks like this. So, your standard template is these 4x4 things, and the packers rotate between them. This is less efficient than diamond in pretty much every single way, but it is a handy-dandy way of just making your, like, having, especially for quad turrets, if you want a twin turret, or, sorry, 2 firing pieces or 4 firing pieces, and you want them to all have exactly the same stats, this is actually kind of a handy way to do it, and I'll show you how that works just by slapping this down a whole bunch, because you can see it fits in quite nicely, like so. And you can do 3D Tetris with this as well, but like I said, we're not going to bother this time, because A, lazy, B, this thing kind of needs all the firepower per volume it can get, because it's somewhat more volume inefficient. So now we have a whole bunch of hardener pellets, and this is going to be a party mix cram, by the way. And I just looked at my notes. You might be wondering why I'm armoring this. This is sheer habit by now. People disagree on how essential it is to armor your turrets. I tend to do that, if nothing else, because it makes your ship lose health more slowly. So if we get a honking big railgun that tears through all the side armor here and blows up our turret, if this doesn't have blocks on the turret itself, it's more likely to get decapitated entirely. So this ring of armor is not only protection, but it's also functioning as a kind of structural exoskeleton, so it means that even if, like, all the blocks in here are taken off completely, like, the turret itself doesn't fall off until those, you know, much stronger metal blocks get blown up, which can mean the difference between your craft despawning, like, after 5 minutes of a fight, or maybe 7 minutes or something like that. So I tend to do that, and it's weird just how, like, systems keep hanging on like that. But, alright, so yeah, I'm already gone off script here. So this is going to be a party mix cram turret, so it's going to have all the pellets. There's a bunch of pellets, 4 of them. HE goes boom, frag, you know, fragmentation. EMP is zap zap, and hardener makes things harder. Hardener pellets are probably the pellets you're going to be using most often, and certainly if you've got, like, it's always helpful to have just at least a few of them in there, because it improves the health of your shell, which makes it harder to shoot down. Always a worry. And so I'm just going to preemptively stick 4 of these guys up here, so I know how tall we're going here. And also, I'm going to do this. So before we get busy with the actual thing, I'm going to show you something that I learned the hard way about this. If you absolutely wanted to do what you wanted to do, you do a rotation, like so. Rotational symmetry is key for this. I cannot emphasize enough that you should probably go look at the CRAM tutorials I've made for, like, you know, actual proper diamond Tetris, because what you're seeing right now is kind of improvised, I want to have fun Tetris, which is not ideal. And I really do recommend... Hold on, I'm being a silly boy. I'm not doing things right. Alright, so there. And I recommend painting your segments so you can remember which bits are which. So I tend to do this. Right, where's that? Let's paint that. And we should paint that as well. And we should paint that. Going to dial that down a whole bunch so you can see it. So painty, and this is just going to be very helpful later, just to be absolutely sure that our thing is still working. And so hopefully you can see here you've got this kind of rotational symmetry going on here, as well as regular symmetry, and this should mean that all of this is doing what we wanted to do. Okay then, so also need to double check that there are no orphaned... Aha! Nope, we're good. We're good. We're smart, we're cool, we're so fresh, we're dozer. Alright, so Party Mix CRAM is basically going to have one of everything, and it's all kind of, you know, good at everything, but also not great at everything. So we're going to do another layer, like so. And this one, we're just going to go up the list. So this one is going to be EMP. Whoopsie daisy. And... Thankfully this turret isn't that big. Alright, so that's our EMP layer. Are we all happy? We should be. Alright, and now the next layer is going to be something a little different. EMP, frag. Put in the HE pellets. You really should stick the hardener pellets at the top because they're slightly cheaper and it's less of an issue if they get destroyed. But we're just winging it. Frag pellets, thankfully, are a distinct color. And we're going to stick a layer of HE pellets. And the reason I'm doing horizontal slices like this, it's so that all the CRAM cannons are pretty much even in how much pellets they get. So, and it also means nice, even lumps of pellets. And we have, how much space do we have left? We have one more before the top layer of connectors needs to go on. So which that means we're going to have one more layer of hardeners, because when in doubt, hardeners are the way to go. So now we can do this, which is just super helpful in dealing with our stuff. Nice and colored, like so. And we can connect this up, like so. And now there's a little bit of 3D Tetris on the top, and I can hear all the CRAM gunners yelling at me and being very upset with me regarding using this kind of Tetris. I accept your criticism. Do as I say, not what I do. Probably is better for that diamond Tetris, just bite the bullet, use that, and then you can just, I don't know, you can just carry on. Okay, let's do this. It's weird, I'm actually used to building much bigger turrets than this. Alright, so now we have done that, we can do fun things in the middle here, regarding some things pointing down. Just a little bit of extra efficiency, not a hell of a lot. And this is also where I like to stick the compactors, just because they're there. Whoops. And what else can we do? What are these? These are white, so this bit in the middle is kind of awkward because you can't share these things between connectors, which means we have to orientate this like that. Not incredibly efficient. And also, this little gap here tends to... I just intend to stick a surge protector in there because, like, there's nothing else that really fits. But we can stick gauge increases in here, and that's super handy. Like so. Yes, alright. And now following our painting guidelines, if nothing else, take this as a hint to use colors to make your life easier, to quickly and visually tell that you are doing things in a specific order. Very handy. Jurassic Park theme. Alright, we're just going to slap a surge protector in there. And we're going to have fuses up in the turret cap. But speaking of, that should do it. That should be all okay. So now we need to... Where am I? Alright, I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will do. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that looks about right. We're going to have at least 1 minute up there. And I am going to prefab... going to prefab this little cramped firing pieces right here. Little prefab thing. This is one of the great things about CRAM cannons, is like how you can connect them. CRAM firing pieces don't connect to each other. And there's a reason there's this kind of L shape, is because if I put a connector over here, these two will kind of be sharing a whole bunch of connectors, and that's not good. We're not using timed shells, so we can get rid of these. And these fuses are already set for inertial, and that's actually all they need. But I'm going to make these hollow points as well. That's a recent feature, so the kinetic damage is not great. The reload time of this is actually quite fast, so we're going to need to add a whole bunch of gauge increases. And it's actually better to put as many gauge increases on first, for the simple reason that if you put compactors instead, these are more expensive and they take up space that your pellets can use. So the gauge increases are cheaper, and they're also more durable, so you can kind of just slap them up on the turret and you can just have a good time. And how do we do that? We can actually... Because one of the things I like to do is, since these things are kind of tough, I like to stick them, you know, occupy the top layer of this turret armor, which is perhaps not the best idea, but you know how it goes. Alright, so now let's do this. Let's actually use the neck space. So I'm gonna go there, and that's already reload time of that, and now we're gonna do that. Whoops, we can't do that. We want it nice and even. Gauge increase corners are really good for this kind of thing, because they don't connect like that. Alright, so now that's not quite 2000 millimeters, so let us now make it so. Let's do this. Yes, we can do fun things like so. Like so. Let's do that. So now we can also do stuff like... I don't actually want to do that thing. Let's do this. Cunning things. Hopefully that's not connecting to anything. Yes, 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 yes. Whoops. No, that's not what we want. This is the problem with mixing regular and rotational symmetry. Alright, let's just go here. Don't need that much. Don't need that much. We can actually make these regular, because why not? Whoop, okay. There we go, there we go, there we go. We did that one. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, you are not going the right way. New plan. Other way we go. Other way we go. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't like building forwards, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's nice and symmetrical. How are you like that? How's your father? There you go. There we go. And we might as well do this. I don't think there's any real difference. 540. 540. There's no actual real difference in stats between all the gauge increases. They're just like that. But now we have a whole bunch. Whoopsie daisy. You don't have enough, do you? That's no bueno. That's no bueno. Don't like it. Don't like that at all. Now you are bueno. There we go. What's this? Ah, yes. Okay, so all these should have identical stats. Yes, they do. How incredibly convenient. And we're gonna muck with that shield generator later. The only times I really like using these shield projectors is, well, like in turrets, because this is a part of your craft that you really want to protect really, really well. Alright, so now let us have some freaking defense. When the horse jumps over defense, defeat go before detail. I'm gonna have this kind of diamond shape. Please don't sue me. Oh yes, 3-meter beam slopes are lovely. I love them. I love them so much. This isn't strictly necessary, but you know, that's probably fun. Actually, let's see here. Can we? I think we can. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. And I think we can use collision sheets to basically make it so that we can get away with this. And there's an easy way to check this, is just to build a little ring of stuff around your thingy like that, and just to test, we're going to slap down on the front here. This is not going to be permanent, nobody panic. A fire control, like so. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. We've got our hotkeys. Whoops. Way too many buttons. Too many buttons too quick. So does that rotate all the way around? Yes, she does. Oh, yes. We like that. We like that a lot. Doop. And doop. Now we can finish this off. And it's so nice. Complete ship, save that right there. And now we need to figure out, well, firstly, actually what I want to do is build in the deck around this, because I keep doing this ass backwards, and building deck stuff. Well, no, I build the turret before, the full turret before the deck, and that means you kind of need to scooch in under the turret and try and make magic happen, and that's a pain, and I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. You can't force me. Okay, let's do this now. Reinforced wood. Oh, this is not an optimized thing, but it was never going to be because it's made live on camera. If you expect people to do a flawless job on camera, you are going to be sorely disappointed. Okay, so there, and that goes there, and that goes there. And reinforced wood, like so, and yes. And let's just double check, out of sheer paranoia, that is working how we want. Yes, please, thank you. Let's just double check the stats of this. Actually, I want to mess with this. Rotate, reloading, no. 130 is apparently the most mathematically good damage for a frag gun. Right, so 9,000 damage per frag. It's not... These aren't incredibly good, but having 4 of them does help a lot. Am I going to have synchronized fire? Nah. Nah. I might do, I might not. That's one of the things we'll mess with later. Now we need a nice turret cap. And do I feel like... Nah, let's make this square and boxy. So, if you're wondering about how to effectively cover a whole thing, if you make something that's roughly square-shaped and covers these corners here, generally you'll be okay. So, let's just do that. Let's see if that does the trick. That should do the trick. See if their corners are covered. They are barely covered, but it's okay. We're going to make this wider anyway. To make it just one more wider. There we go. And now we can do fun things involving internal detection. So, I love doing this. Not everyone loves doing it, but I certainly do. I like to hide rangefinders and cameras and all that jazz inside the turret itself, because that is so handy to do. It keeps them much safer. It means the entire turret needs to get destroyed before the actual thing is, well, gone. I could have phrased that better. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go to decorations, metal portholes. I'm just going to have a whole bunch of these in a row. These are not great armor, but they do stand up to fire reasonably well. And spaced armor in your turret gap is generally a good idea, but I tend to find that if you've organized it like how I've done here, from the front, well, the barrels are essentially acting as spaced armor, so it's not a huge deal. But just to guard the sides, I think I am gonna do something like this. Just so we're not completely screwed if we get hit in the side by heat or hash or something like that. And we're gonna do this now, like so. And I don't know what's gonna be in here. Maybe some surge protectors. I'm just gonna chuck them in here. So, like so. And actually, while I remember, I've been told that, like, I've tested this and it's true, that these trackers, like this visual camera, they need, like, proper clearance to see through things. So I'm going to put this guy up here, and yes, he can still see through that from the bottom. And I'm going to do this, and it's mirrored just because that makes me happy. And the top layer, the very top layer, because I always do 2 layers on this, is also going to be like that. So let's go here, and let's go like so. That might be a bit much. And if you really want to be... Let's see, I'm trying to remember, like, what can we do? Oh, we're sinking again. Oh no, we're sinking! What are you sinking about? I don't know. Let's do 2 meter slopes, like so. This is not my usual turret design, I hasten to inform you. But it just feels fitting for this kind of craft. Actually, you know what we could do? You know what we could do is something like that. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I might get rid of all of this. I might get rid of all of this. Nope, nope, nope. That's actually not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do at all. There we go. And now we're going to do fun things with color, because I like sunnies. I like to have sunglasses on my turrets. I like to do it like this, so do that. Glass is not ideal, but it keeps the shape nicely. And let's go here. Sloped armor is sloped. So... really what I should be doing if I want to be really clever is stick just enough heavy armor in this turret so it's nice and protected. So now, since the back of this is not something I'm really inclined to worry about too much, I'm just going to flatten it out like that. I might give this trackers later or not. And I think I've made this too big. I actually just really screwed myself over. Oh well, we'll just roll with this. This is not the best turret I've ever made. I was trying to force myself not to just make a circular turret again. But it looks like that's what I've done, except it's a horrible, ugly square thing. We're just gonna have to live with the sickening stench of my failures. This is how building goes. And let's do this, and this. And generally 2 meters of metal on the top here is all you really need. Alright, let's do that, and let's do that. And we have... You know what? I want this to be sloped differently. I'm going to do... This is probably going to make it better, hopefully. Right. Okay, that looks... It looks interesting, let's say. We could put more armor on the sides later. This is not going to stop any railguns whatsoever, but that's okay. I think I am actually going to stick some... This is going to be heavy armor, just because... Because that is a good idea, and I want to do that. Whoopsie daisy. Alright, so now we just want to make sure this is all... Whoops. So that's... Okay, so now I've made a bit of a whoopsie in that I've put these portholes here. We're just going to have to live with that. And let's check where the center of mass is. Because, yeah, that's a little forward. So one trick I've learned the other day, which is actually kind of similar to real-life solutions, is actually put counterweights on your turret to pull it back a little bit into center. That also makes this much heavier, so I don't recommend it if you don't really have to do it. And now I'm going to do that. Now I've really done it. Okay, let's do... Alright, now let's get cute. Let's get cute with transitions. This is the most time-consuming part of the whole damn thing, isn't it? What is it? 3 to 4 transition left. And then we're just gonna have 3-meter slopes down here. I hope this isn't too hideous, otherwise what is back there? Is that important? Just detection, no biggie. Alright, so that is a turret cap, I guess. And looks like we're not putting any secondaries over here, so we might as well just do something along the lines of this, just to keep it nice and happy. Alright, so we're here. I'm going to stick a bunch of delicious wedges here, so let's just check here. Where's this? It's here. Right, so this is like, alright, screw it, I don't know what's happening. Let's do... This is armoring. That just goes here. This tends to be how builds go. It's just like, I don't know. I don't even know, guys. Technically, yeah, this is the spaced armor. Like, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit of extra buoyancy, because by goodness we need that. And we're going to just plug in the deck here, because we might as well. We're not putting anything over there. This is where the main gun is. Just gonna have to remember that. I can prefab that later when we later do the APS, which is going to be a very similar construction. And yeah, actually, I think a little bit over here as well. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. Bet you didn't think there was going to be more armoring here, did ya? Those of you who are thinking I'm too paranoid, have you seen? Actually, that worked out kind of well. That shield can be made quite strong. Speaking of things that use power, we are going to be probably swapping the engines out for steam engines, because I learned just the other day how to actually make steam engines that are somewhat, you know, that do what I want them to, which is very nice. Alright, I have a prefab for this, but I am going to build it from scratch, so we're going to have 4 elevation barrels, and then, whoops, hold on, no, we're not. We're going to have a flash suppressor, because that's really handy. Oh, they're big. Okay, let's go here, elevation barrel, start, that looks funny, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 elevation barrels gets you to the max elevation of 75 degrees, motor driven barrel, 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, and now, so this is poking out here. This is not ideal turret design because you do want this to be a little bit more covered. I guess we're going for style points. That is a very square turret. I'm not sure if I like it. I'm not sure I like that at all. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I'll change it right now. Right now I will change it. Square, 3 meters, there we go. And then we put the transition block on the top, which is actually how I prefer to do it. That's better. That's better. Alright, so we are going to stick a heavy barrel here. Can't go nuts on the heavy barrels because this is already a little bit much. And barrels, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a heavy barrel end. This goes here, and I'm going to put in the deck underneath these barrels because goodness knows we're not actually going to put anything just below them. And there we have our CRAM cannon. And I should probably, let's see here, just block all that in. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Whoopsie daisy. The reinforced wood goes there. Apologies to everyone hoping for barbettes and that kind of thing. Nice and flat. Nice and flat turret. And I think I'm actually just going to fill that in with even more wedges, because why not? Why not, I say. Spaced armor is fun like that, yes. Yes, yes. What's your style? My style is making things up as I go. Probably someone out there is going to be like, what the hell are you doing, bro? And you're absolutely correct. I'm making this up as I go. That's what I do. That doesn't look right. It's not right. It should really do it from over here. Let's do it from... Let's do it from here because that seems to fit. There we go. There we go. You thought this was about the CRAM cannon, you fool. It's about the CRAM cannon and everything around it. I'll patch that later. Okay, so now we have our CRAM cannon and we absolutely must test fire it because it's been about 40 minutes. So let us now call this... Alright, do I know my weapon groups? I'm gonna call this weapon 1. Because why not? I'm gonna go down here. I'm actually gonna set firing restrictions down here just while I'm here. And let's do that. That's what I pretty much always do for this kind of thing. Now I'm gonna head straight back up to the top here because I didn't do that for the actual firing pieces. Life is hard. Life is so hard. Flip. Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. And this is probably going to be horrendously inaccurate, so... Alright, let's turn the missiles off. And let us spawn in our friend, the Marauder, over here, because the Marauder is fun to shoot at. And that is a modded sound, in case you were wondering. So we've got 4 great big dirty CRAM shells. They missed horribly, but it's okay. Let's see, they've got about a 22-second reload. And look at that, like perfectly even HE frag and EMP. I love it. And perfectly identical firing rate. They just fired crams at us. No biggie. We missed again. Oh no, we didn't. That's a great thing with firing 4 shells at... Wow, that actually really hurt. Alright, do that again. It's fun. And this is with like this is like with one camera tracker and a wireless snooper, by the way. And we're still landing shots on the... I say that. Yeah, so this is why you do need like 3D... Not 3D, 360 detection. Let's do this. Hold on. Here's a fun trick. Binoculars. Whee! Whee! And AI dead. Beautiful! So we have a cram cannon. A jolly good cram cannon. And we are just successful at life now. Jolly good. We are sinking. That's no good. Please stop sinking, and if you are sinking, tell me what you are thinking about. And I must get this screenshot before the thing actually sinks. Probably won't even use that. So, bear in mind, this is on the booty of the craft. And, yeah, that'll do for this episode of Building a Complete Ship. We're having long-term buoyancy issues, which we are going to need to deal with later. But for now, we have a cram cannon, and that's fun. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths, Building a Complete Ship. Farewell.